What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be taking a boat ride on the River Thames here in London. Today's date is Saturday, November 11th, 2023, about 11:30 a.m. Temperatures 48 Fahrenheit, 9 degrees Celsius. I just bought a ticket for £14.90 one way. And it's departing very soon. I do have to show my QR code to get in. They told me gate B is where I'll need to board. Now there are different river services on the River Thames. There's also an Uber boat, which is operated by the Transport for London, which is mainly served as a commuter boat. So there isn't any live tour narration, but this one does have narration. All right, gate B.
Gate B.
Yes, Thams River Sightseeing. All right.
So just do that boat instead.
Okay. Looks like it's just about to depart. Hi.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Are you doing some filming today, sir?
Yes, I am.
What are you filming?
YouTube video.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome.
Where are you going to go today, sir?
Greenwich.
Perfect.
All right.
Mind the step, please. Okay, welcome.
Sure. Okay. Wow, nice boat. Like the interior. Looks like they even have an open bar here on the bottom floor, but let's go to the top. Check the prices out. Wine for £5 a glass. Instant coffee, cappuccino. Very nice. Got the toilets. All right. There's Big Ben.
I thought the grandchildren called me.
Westminster Bridge, and the London Eye, the popular Ferris wheel. Hopefully I can get a seat here. Yes, I think so. Perfect. From what I heard, this is a 1-hour boat ride to Greenwich, although you can get off earlier if you don't want to go all the way. Some people are already drinking wine here. This boat should depart in 2 minutes. From what I saw on the website, they depart about every 40 minutes during the day.
Сейчас, подожди, может надо зайти в настройки, может она в настройках у меня отключена.
Oh, they do leave every 40 minutes. Here's my ticket.
Вот здесь
Boats leave every 40 minutes.
спустись, поищи, может тут отключена. Нашла?
Yeah, you can.
We don't have to.
I think there's also the City Cruises boat, which is similar to this, but I've heard good reviews about this one, the Thams River Sightseeing. The Uber boat by the Transport for London, I think it's like 9 or 10 pounds. It also charges you depending on the number of zones you go.
Он же берет из общего счета, правильно?
Да, ну я и перевел туда уже.
Non, non, viens là. Ouais, lui, c'est plus. Eh ben, tu gardes ta place. Et moi, je me mets là.
Seems to be a popular attraction to do.
Jamie texting you live.
There's the commuter boat. It's quick.
Не знаю точно.
Такого быть не может, там где-то у тебя спрятан так, чтобы
Любуйся
оно
Темзой.
случайно.
Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very good morning everyone. Welcome on board the London Rose. Now as you can see, we're just away from Westminster Pier for our journey downstream, stopping alongside at Tower Bridge Quay, and then for some of you we continue downstream to Greenwich. Now it's a lovely day. Is everybody happy? Good, everybody's smiling, that's good. Now, as we leave the pier, it is very important that I tell you about the boat and the safety equipment on board. We have a full complement of life-saving equipment. This comes in the form of life rings, life rafts and life jackets. If you need to use the toilets, they're downstairs at the back of the boat. And for anyone who's sitting downstairs, we do have an open top deck. There are still some seats available up here. Now, I was standing down by the gate and I spoke to most of you getting on the boat. A few passengers have asked me if there'll be a commentary as we go downstream. Now, we don't have any professional guides or commentators on the boat, but as the crew of the boat, if you want me to, I can point out some buildings for you, just to try and make the journey a bit more interesting and maybe save it from being a mystery tour. It's up to you folks. Would you like me to talk as we go along? A show of hands, please. Okay, nearly everyone. That makes a change. Yesterday it was very quiet on the boat, so nice to see some people out on the boat today. So I think what we'll do today is we'll start on the left-hand side. If you look to the river wall, there's a white column with a golden eagle perched on top. That is the Royal Air Force War Memorial. It commemorates the men, the women and all the allies who gave their lives during the First and the Second World War. The beak of that golden eagle points to the beaches of France where so many brave people sadly fell. And if it wasn't for those brave people, folks, we wouldn't have the nice things and the freedom that we all have today. So it's a very important memorial, especially today. Away to the right of the boat we have the London Eye. The wheel is 450 feet tall. Now the wheel has 32 pods or carriages. There's 25 people in each pod. You get on and you get off as the wheel is continuously moving. And at the very top of the London Eye, on a clear day like today, you'll see about 35 miles over London. It's now carried over 65 million people, and the company that owns it, they are called Merlin Entertainment. When they first built the London Eye, it was run by British Airways, and they called it a flight. And to take a flight, they charged £5. To do the same trip on the wheel today, they will charge you £45. So the price of the ticket is very, very expensive. Now on the left-hand side, folks, we've got a Gothic building. This is Whitehall Court Mansion, home to the 5-star Royal Horse Guards Hotel and part of the Liberal Club. The first bridge that we pass underneath is called Charing Cross. Either side of Charing Cross Bridge there's a footbridge. These are the Golden Jubilee walkways. They were built to celebrate the Queen's 50th year on the throne in the year 2002. I recommend that you wave to people on the bridge. If you do see anyone, give them a wave and a smile. Most people are quite friendly and they'll wave back. Some people are quite miserable and they don't wave, okay? And I do find the people that don't wave are probably from London, okay? So I'm from London, rather. Give that little girl another wave, I'll tell you. Now we need to make a quick stop just to pick up some more passengers, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to make our stop here at Embankment Pier. Just a few passengers are now waiting to get on. So just bear with me a minute, folks. As soon as we've left the pier here, I'll speak to you again. Thank you.
The boat itself is really smooth. Don't really feel many bumps at all.
Là, on la voit bien, là.
Вот и мне повезло. Ну, они все тупо внизу сейчас сядут. Да.
Elle est dans le sud.
être une belle perspective, oui. Mais il faudrait essayer d'éviter les grues, quoi. Il faudra peut-être d'autres points de vue.
Allez.
Non, non, non. Ouais, mais le temps que là, je regarde. Ça peut pas être mieux pour faire cette balade-là. Ouais,
Мы так будем, короче, к остановке плавать или что? Мы когда-нибудь поплывем?
Прямое.
Прямое, ну, в смысле?
Наверное,
Вообще мы сюда шпортуем.
слушай, ну а иначе как? Я так понимаю, что это как... Там ниже, в этом высоте было. Да, поход. Получается, что да.
А он же не во Франции еще. В Испании. Просто поехать в тепло.
Потому что им в Испании дешевле снимать, чем в Франции. Да-да.
Потому что там тепло.
Ну и плюс там тепло.
Морепродукты дешевые, тепло. Во Франции они в своей квартире не помещаются. Там
Правильно.
сестра живет,
Так и
родители,
они,
они
ж-
живут,
и они
да.
ж поэтому снимают.
Поэтому приходится, да.
А снимать дороже.
Еще за $1 миллион. За миллион фунтов, евро. Ага. Принеси доходы. Твоей мамы увидели намного другие квартиры, я их рисовал. Можно было за эти деньги купить в Испании целую виллу. Виллу с бассейном, трехэтажную. И в Америку. И жить всей семьей нормально. Бассейном, все. Чем этот вид на эту башню. Ну неделю ты на нее посмотришь. И все. Потом она нам пофиг уже была. Ты выходишь, ну башня, ну и хрен с ней.
Нет, да понятно, просто что...
Просто когда семья состоит из одного ребенка, как у них, если у них первая была девочка, да, жена, вот как мы.
Так и то, а что там детская есть комната?
А?
А там есть детская комната?
Где я спал. Я вспомнил.
Это детская?
А чем ей плохо детский
Это
сделать?
спальня.
Детская комната, спальня.
А в спальне? Окей, а взрослым есть?
Мы не заходили в их спальню вообще-то. Там огромная спальня, огромный санузел. Мы ж не заходили.
Вот та маленькая коморка, ты считаешь, что детская?
Где я спал?
Да.
Где я спал, там уже детскую сделали.
Достаточно.
А что там достаточно?
Ну, по сути, там нет детской такой.
It takes a while to pick up people and stop.
Okay, ladies and gents, as you can see then we've left the pier now on our way downstream to Tower Bridge and Greenwich. Now as we leave, if we just look over our right shoulder, I'll back the boat up a little bit here. You'll see the Royal Festival Hall. The building was built in 1951 for the Festival of Britain. Now Frank Sinatra, Shirley Bassey, Pavarotti, they all performed live in this building on our right. You've got some very good street entertainment here on the right, and also a very good food market just behind the festival hall. I would recommend that. If we look over the river on the left-hand side now, you'll see there's a stone column on the river's wall. Now that is called Cleopatra's Needle. Now that needle was given to us by an Egyptian government in thanks over defeating Napoleon and the French fleets at the Battle of the River Nile. Now the needles, they are made in pairs, and the twin in Central Park in New York City in America. Now at the bottom of the needle, if you look in a minute, once this boat gets out of the way, you'll see there's at the bottom of the needle two statues. These are called sphinxes. Now the sphinxes, they are facing the wrong way. They should be looking away from the needle and guarding it. They are looking away and, they should be looking away and guarding. They are looking at it and they are admiring. The mistake wasn't noticed until the concrete had dried and they were told to leave it and hope nobody would notice what they'd done wrong. But they should look the other way. The building behind that with the clock face on the front, that is the Shell Petroleum building in the Strand. That is the biggest clock on a building anywhere in London. It's bigger than the one at Westminster. The biggest clock in the country is in Liverpool on the Royal Liver building. Then you've got a building with the green roof and the flag in the centre. That is the Savoy Hotel. Very, very nice and very, very expensive. To stay there for one night in a riverside room, they will charge you £1,300 per night at the Savoy. This is Waterloo Bridge. This is better known as the Ladies' Bridge. Built by ladies during the Second World War. Whilst the men were at war fighting, the girls at home under construction. And the bridge here was one of them. And I'm sure we must agree, gentlemen, the ladies, they made an excellent job. So well done, the girls, well done. On the left of the boat, folks, the building with the green dome in the centre, that is Somserset House. Built over 200 years ago for the Dukes and the Earls of Somerset. For many years, that building stored a birth, death and marriage certificate, taken over by the Coulthard Art Gallery and King's College. To the right-hand side, the building with the advertisement screen, that is our National Theatre. Inside that building are 3 separate halls. The main one is called the Olivier. That is named after Laurence Olivier, the founder of that building. That building is voted every single year to be the ugliest building on the River Thames. And I think we can agree and say it is a very ugly building. It looks more like a car park, if you ask me. It's not very good. Ahead of us in front of the boat on the left, you'll see a large ship. It has a yellow funnel. That is called the Wellington. It used to be part of the New Zealand Navy. Today that ship is a floating livery hall. It's a drinking club for retired sea captains. Now you must have been the captain of a ship at sea for more than 25 years to be a member of their floating club on the left-hand side. Now I'm not sure if anyone's seen the Lord Mayor show this morning, and so they have a parade of, or flotilla of floats and bits and pieces going through the streets of London. You can see a couple of men on the top deck of the Wellington there in their cloaks, if you like. So they'll have a few drinks on there usually this afternoon. On the roadside to the left, can you see the silver dragons or griffins under the trees? They mark the entrance to the City of London at Temple Gate. Bishopsgate, Newgate, Aldgate are the gateways to the City of London. Over on the right of the boat we have a red building. It has a glass roof and tower. That building is called Stamford Wharf. It used to be a cold storage meat warehouse converted into luxury riverside apartments. You see the glass roof at the top, that's a restaurant, the Oxo Tower restaurant, owned by Harvey Nichols, one of the top 10 restaurants in London. Look up at the windows in the tower, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see Oxo in the windows, where they made the famous gravy, the stock cube. Now, ladies and gentlemen, approaching Blackfriars on the left-hand side, through the cranes. As we get closer to the bridge, in fact, you'll get a lovely view of St Paul's over the bridge in front of us. So have your camera ready. Now, on the left, there's a red brick building. It looks like a church. That is Zion College and Library, a school and study for the clergymen in London. The building next door with the green sloping roof, that's the old City of London School. Past members of Parliament, they went to school there before going on to Oxford or Cambridge University. This is where they are taught to lie and cheat, ladies and gentlemen. The semicircular building is Unilever House, famous soap and detergent manufacturer. And then say a lovely picture over the bridge of St Paul's. What a lovely view. St Paul's on the left. This is Blackfriars. They're repainting the bridge. You can see on the left they've repainted the arch, and they will complete the repainting of the whole bridge. As we go under the bridge, look on the left and right hand side. You'll see the red support columns in the river. They used to carry the Chatham and Dover steam railway. They took away the top of the bridge because it was unsafe. They could not remove the columns, the other bridges would fall down. It would undermine the foundations of the bridges on each side. Through the bridge, over on the left, we have the dome and the golden cross of St Paul's, the masterpiece of Sir Christopher Wren. The building was built, or opened I should say, in 1710. Now ladies and gentlemen, if you look above the dome on St Paul's, there's a viewing gallery from which you obtain a fine view over London. The only problem, there's no lift to get you up there. You have to climb over 500 steps. It only takes about 2 days to get to the top, so it's not a bad effort if you've got the energy. Buried inside St Paul's, we have the tombs of Lord Nelson, the Duke of Wellington, and the architect Sir Christopher Wren. They're all buried at St Paul's. We have the Tate Gallery of Modern Art on the right. That is the largest modern art gallery in the world, the Tate Modern Art Gallery. And this is the Millenium Bridge, or better known to everyone as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. The bridge was opened on a Saturday morning by the late Queen. It was closed the same afternoon by the police for being unsafe. So many people walked on the bridge it started to wobble. People were falling over as they went across. So they had to close it down and dewobbleize it. It's now safe to walk on today. And some of you might remember it from Harry Potter. It was in the Harry Potter film as well. On the right, we have the Globe Theatre of William Shakespeare, the only building to have thatch on the roof since the Great Fire of London. In the summertime, you can watch a Shakespearean play. Plays are performed in a traditional way. There's no microphones or stage lighting. It's all done as it used to be done during the time of William Shakespeare. So a nice thing to do, folks, if you get a chance, try and visit the Globe Theatre. Have a look on the next bridge. You won't see a lot of cars, you won't see a lot of people. This is due to the bad planning of the approach roads. The main approach roads are hidden so well in the back streets of London that nobody can find it to use it. Now they say if you see anyone up there, give them a wave, because they are probably lost, and it might cheer them up a little bit. Because, is there anyone up there? As we go through, look on the right, you might fancy a few beers this afternoon. There's a a pub on the right, the Anchor Tavern Bankside. Now this pub is over 300 years old, mentioned in the diary of Dr. Johnson and Samuel Pepys. It's a lovely pub here, the Anchor Tavern. Cannon Street Railway Bridge, the train station, Cannon Street is on your left-hand side. Now as we go under Cannon Street Bridge, we look to the right, you'll see the old warehouses here. These warehouses have been converted into apartments. Riverside apartments here by the banks of the Thames. The price of property is very expensive. Anything with a river view is £1 million up, okay? Some of the most expensive ones are close to 10 million. In the dockway on the right, there's a replica of Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. Now, Drake was the first Englishman to sail the world. He did so on a ship identical to that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Drake was not an explorer. He was a licensed pirate. He was given permission from the Queen to loot as many ships as he could. And in fairness, he was pretty good at that. He came back with lots of gold and treasure. Southwark Cathedral on the right. Can you see the tower? Lovely building, 14th century Southwark Cathedral. Now, if you got your camera, the name of the bridge is carved on the left-hand side and here to the right as well. This is the 5th London Bridge in 2,000 years. When the Romans came here, they built a wooden bridge. They called it Londinium. There was a medieval bridge here for over 500 years. It had a church, shops and houses. The London Bridge before that one, it was sinking. And it was sold to an American businessman. The old London Bridge today is in America, in Lake Havasu in Arizona. That is where the old bridge is today. Has anyone seen the bridge in America? Anyone? Has anyone ever heard that story before? No? Does anyone really care? No? Alright, we'll leave it as that. Don't worry, it's definitely there, I'm not joking, okay? On the left there's a yellow brick building, that's the old Billingsgate fish market. Look on the roof, there's weather vanes. They are golden fish. Say Billingsgate Market was very famous for the fine fresh fish and the Cockney porters for their foul language, especially on a very cold and wet winter's day. And I still go to the market down at Canary Wharf and say it hasn't changed a lot, still, it's not a place for the girls, really. It's pretty bad. Ahead of us on the right, we've got the warship HMS Belfast. Now, the Belfast, she was built in 1938 in the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland. She saw action during the Second World War. She was the flagship for the United Nations in the Korean War. Today, a museum to former naval sea power visit and explore all 9 decks of the ship. You go down in the engine room, you can go right up on the captain's bridge. Now this is a very, very good day out, folks. If you get a chance, have a walk around the warship and say very, very interesting. You'll learn a lot walking around the ship on the right. It's very good. Now in front of the boat and on the left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have a castle-like building. This is the Tower of London. Now, the oldest part of the tower is in the very centre, where you see the four roofs and the flag. That is the Norman Keep, or the White Tower, built in the reign of William the Conqueror in 1078. The building has served London as a royal palace. It's been a prison, a mint and observatory, famously known as a place of imprisonment, torture and execution. Now look over on the river wall. Above the archway we have entry to Traitor's Gate. Can you see that on the wall there? If you were found guilty of treason, you were taken through Traitor's Gate and you were then imprisoned or executed inside. Inside the tower today we have the crown jewels on display. They are guarded by yeoman wardens, who are better known as the beefeaters at the Tower of London. And in front of the boat we have Tower Bridge, the gateway to London. Tower Bridge was opened on the 30th of June in 1894. The centre part of the bridge on the left, it can open like a double-sided drawbridge to allow a big ship into this part of the river. When the River Thames was very busy with shipping, the bridge opened around 30 times a day. It opens now maybe, say, 15 times a month. It's a bit quieter now. Obviously, November and December is a little bit quiet. But during the summer, I've seen it open 15, 20 times in a busy day, on a good day in the summer. Now, obviously, it'll be lovely if they open the bridge, but a really nice time to see it is when they light it up. See the bridge at night time when the lights are on, folks. It's a lovely sight. If you see anyone on the bridge, always give them a wave and a smile. If they wave back, it will bring you 5 years of good luck and happiness. And it is lottery tonight, so I would be waving if I was you. You never know, it could be your lucky number. Now folks, I would like to thank everybody on the boat for your very kind attention. Thank you children at the front, everybody has sat and listened, and I appreciate that very much. Now folks, if I could ask you to remain seated until the boat is on the pier safely. If the boat bumps the pier, you can fall over. And I don't want to see anyone having an accident on this boat, okay? I am responsible for every single one of you on the boat, okay? So I'd like to make sure everyone is safe, please, okay? So if you can understand me, when you're taking your picture, please do remain seated. That would be much appreciated. Now, information about your tickets. Now, if you've got a Greenwich ticket, a ticket that will take you to Greenwich, stay on the boat, okay? We'll be here for about 5 minutes, and then we'll continue further on downstream to Greenwich. Now, if you have a return ticket to Westminster, you can get off the boat here, and you can have a look around. There's a returning boat every 40 minutes. The last boat today is at 4:40, okay? So 20 minutes to 5 tonight is the last boat back to Westminster. When we get to Greenwich, I'll explain to you about times of boats when we get to Greenwich, okay? Now, the very last thing that we do mention is a brief word about the commentary. As we said earlier, we are the crew of the boat, we are licensed Thames watermen. And our job is to take you and this boat safely from A to B. Now, it does seem a bit silly to me that you come on the boat and nobody tells you what you're looking at. So it has become a bit of a tradition that one of the crew will point the buildings out in hope of making it a little bit more enjoyable. Now, as the commentaries on the boat are given entirely voluntary by us, the crew, we have an old tradition, a very old custom. When you leave the boat, you'll see by the exit gate, we've got the old captain's tip bucket. And if you have understood and enjoyed the little commentary, you're more than welcome to drop a few bob in our old bucket. Now, if you don't know what a few bob is, we do now accept American Express, traveller's checks, Visa card, and the good old pound note. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your very kind attention, and have a lovely afternoon. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Я лучше фоточек
А
наделаю.
вот там. Ты ж хотела вот там.
I think so, yeah. That's right.
Я все группу Лондону сберу.
Все, окей.
Не ссыте в компост.
Да не, ну я поздно сообразила, что надо было мне тоже туда сесть, уже все было занято.
Куда?
Ну вот сюда надо было, в этот ряд.
Ага.
Тогда бы я бы вот так, как ты стояла, и мне было бы потом.
Ну, сразу, когда зашли,
Да. Я
вот как сделала мама с дочкой, которая за мной. Сын сзади, она за
Ну, блин,
все.
да. Я уже поздно сообразила.
Не, ну ты у нас старший чёчек. А? Ага, точно.
Не, ну я ж не думала, что будут такие, которые стоят. Я ж думала, они как-то понимают, что они кому-то перекрывают.
Что не мешают, да?
Да, ну как бы да.
А вон школьники, Дося, смотри. Форма одинаковая, видишь, у них на берегу. Юбочка, рубашка, у всех одинаковые.
Да, все одинаковые, да, форма, да.
Last time I was on those,
Это у них такое,
yeah,
это
the time I didn't want to go home. It's still like 3. You wanted? No, like I didn't want to. I would have to see the hotel or something.
That's when you went to Chelsea, wasn't it?
Остановка. Кто-то будет выходить, кстати. А это видишь, в Тауэрском мосту пешком не чесать. Прям сейчас выходишь и Тауэрский мост. Мы вечером
мы же
пойдем.
тоже так хотели.
Не, мы на автобусе.
Мы с автобуса
Мы с автобуса.
Может, подсветочка будет
Да,
красивая.
она и будет, потому что она и будет. Днем мы сейчас его уже нафоткали. И сняли, и сфоткали.
Time's in them.
Вот если бы они сейчас не стояли, был бы хороший вариант.
So what time is it exactly now?
А сейчас мы пришвартуемся и будем стоять какое-то время, они отойдут.
Не, оно же будет уже совсем
Все, мы вот пришвартовались, все, зайка.
That's it?
Kind of happy and
выходит, правильно папа сказал, чтобы не перетягивать.
Да, чтобы не петляли. Ну, раз и всё.
Все равно ты это,
Кого?
ну все равно ты фоткаешь, потому что
У меня есть, когда мы развернулись, прям
Go, tickets go with
четкий, классный.
Tickets go with What's it been? What? No.
so we can go through them.
No.
Okay, folks, that's us safely alongside Tower Bridge.
Let's go.
If you're leaving us here, please make sure you've got all of your personal items and belongings and take extra care when stepping ashore. Boats back to Westminster leave here every 40 minutes. If you'd like to take the last boat back, be here no later than 5:30. After this brief stop, we continue downriver to the
Вот
Royal
это отель,
Bridge.
который я смотрел. Вот он. Тауэр отель. Здесь номер получается 96 тысяч.
это сколько?
3000 фунтов. Ой, 3000 фунтов. 3000 евро. А на нас на троих выходил вот эти все дни, если бы мы здесь жили, 124. И у них наверху ресторан, представь, наверху у тебя ресторан, ты смотришь на него. А вот это стеклянное, вот здесь обеды. Вот ты приходишь завтрак, обед.
Ну, а хотя вот так фасад, прости господи.
Ну, так он построен хрен знает когда. Вот это подсвечивается ночью.
Ну да.
И ты вот кушаешь, обедаешь, не ужинаешь.
Ничего, пойдем посмотрим. От одного раза, да?
Есть.
Кстати, просто какая-то просто кофе. Это просто вообще не.
Нет, просто я смотрю, мне попадается. А вот наш автобус прям по Таврской области проезжает. Мы чудненько по нему проедем.
То есть понятно, что будет остановка либо там, либо там.
Да, и наделаем фотки, и это.
Если бы не солнце, мы бы тут прикололись. Я же сразу сказала, что будет полно.
У нас сейчас мы вообще стали выбирать дни, все остальное, вакации, дни шикарно. У нас с вчерашнего вечера началось, вот так вот раз классно попадаем.
Ich mache euch Verbinde mal geschwind mit dem Tower. Nein, 16 Uhr. Ну, это первое что, ну, это очень популярно. А ты подключилась или это у тебя просто заранее было? А как ты же подключилась? А к чему ты?
Кораблик включил Wi-Fi. Ты стерео место?
Bin gleich wieder da.
Все, отходим. Если ты встанешь на ключик, будет фотка. Да, подержи, встанешь. Взять телефон и это ключ сиденья его.
Можно это место сесть?
Нагрела себе место, да.
Ты на этой сидишь?
Это нормально, я штанами сидел нормально. во всем мире лучше колес просто не найти старых. Во всем мире, хоть не знаешь.
И только у нас
Ну, мы разворачиваемся. Сейчас полицейские жопой как собьем. Сейчас старый самолет.
Okay then, ladies and gents, as you can see now, we've left the pier at the tower, and as we turn, a lovely view here of the Tower Bridge, complete with a double-decker red bus. That does that to the picture. Now, Tower Bridge is insured with Lloyd's of London as a ship. As it has moving parts in water, they class it as a ship. To lift it, there must be a captain, a mate and an engineer. As long as you telephone the bridge 24 hours in advance, they will lift Tower Bridge completely free of charge. There is no cost, just 24 hours notice. There is only one day of the year they don't open Tower Bridge, and that is on the day of the London Marathon, because the marathon comes over the bridge throughout the day. And it wouldn't be very fair to open the bridge halfway through the marathon. Although it would make it a bit more interesting if they opened it a little bit and they had to jump across that right now. Now on the way to Greenwich, folks, if you want, I can continue with the commentary. Would anyone like me to continue as we go along? A show of hands, please. Oh, okay, everyone. That's good. I think yesterday, on one trip, we had 10 people, and I've done a commentary. I don't think hardly anyone knew what was going on about. So that was quite frustrating. So at least some people do understand it today, which is good. I go home and my wife doesn't listen to me, so at least someone's listening. Now on the right we've got Butler's Wharf. This building used to be a tea warehouse. Now the Cutty Sark, which you'll see at Greenwich, the tall tea clipper, when she was a working ship she came into London and she would moor here at Butler's Wharf, unloading her chests of tea into the buildings. Today these buildings are riverside apartments. They're very nice and these are very expensive. Anywhere between £2 and £5 million to own one of these apartments. You see that bridge going over the creek there? That is St Saviour's Dock. That is where they filmed Oliver Twist. That is where Fagin had his den of pickpocket thieves, where Bill Sykes was hung from the warehouse roof in the famous musical of Oliver Twist. On the left-hand side of the boat now we have some green glass apartments. These are the newest apartments in this part of the river. Like other modern buildings, they are designed with a theme. They are designed to look like something. Now, I honestly believe you can sit and look at this all day long. You'll never guess in a million years what that is meant to be. Most people say a ship or a boat. That's what you'd think being by a river. But in fact, those buildings are French marching soldiers. Now, what this bloke was on at the time, I'm really not sure, but it must have been pretty heavy. Look at the rooftops on the first two, they're the berets. Can you see the soldier's hat? The square box is the backpack, the white stick is the tip of the gun. The one at the end looks more like a control tower at an airport, but say you do need a very wide imagination or to be on heavy medication, one or the other. We can't all be right. We're passing the other boat, there's Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side, folks, we have the entrance. That was the entrance into the London dock. Now, the cargo that went through there was alcohol and tobacco. They say the smell alone was enough to keep everybody happy working at the London dock. Good place to work. Then you've got a blue and white structure in the river. That is a dry dock and repair yard for the Thams River Police. They are the oldest uniformed police force in the world. They were set up to combat piracy that was crime. Around 30% of London's cargo went missing. They formed the Thams River Police, 1798. Now, years ago, piracy was rife. Around 30% of cargo was being stolen. If you were found guilty of piracy, what they used to do to the pirates, they would bring you down onto the foreshore here at low tide. They would chain the pirates to a wooden post or spike, and they would leave them there for the tide to rise. They would drown the pirates on the banks of the river. Once the pirates were pronounced dead, they would hang their bodies in steel cages along the river wall, acting as a warning to a would-be pirate. The pub on the left is called the Captain Kidd. Captain William Kidd was given the job to try and combat piracy. He saw how much money everyone was earning and he turned to piracy himself. And he was eventually captured. He met his death there 1701. Let's go back to the right of the boat and you'll see a church. That is the Church of St. Mary. Now, buried in that church is the Captain Christopher Jones. He was the captain of the Mayflower, the ship that went to America in 1620. Look at the pub on the right. Can you see the balcony where the people are? The American flag and the British flag. On the roof there's a weather vane, a small bronze model to the ship itself. So named after the famous pilgrim ship that went to America in 1620. If you look on the right, the building with the blue front, it says Charles Hayes and Sons. Look past that, you'll see a brick wall, a red light belt box, and then if you look carefully, there's two black statues, the Pilgrim Fathers in Pilgrim's Park. Can you see that? And so that's where the Mayflower left from before sailing to America. Now over on the left we have New Crane Wharf, Metropolitan Wharf. Look at the way these buildings are built. They're built in an unbroken line, no footpath, no gaps. This is what the river looked like years ago, just an unbroken line of buildings. Ships and barges on the river wall unloading cargo. Today, Riverside Apartments, now Metropolitan Wharf, to rent an apartment in there, they're about £2,500 a week. Okay, so it's very expensive to live in that building. Although looking at the old windows and doors, it looks like it was smashed, but they're not. It's just the ones that are clean. Then it looks, well, the oldest pub, see the little white building by the willow tree? That's the Prospect of Whitby. That's the oldest pub on the river. It was built in 1520. Now this pub has had many different names over the years. It gets its name from a coal ship. It delivered coal to London from Whitby in Yorkshire. Now the crew, they used the pub on their journeys into London. One evening on their return trip, the crew and the ship were lost in a violent storm. In memory of the ship and the crew, they renamed the pub to the Prospect of Whitby, the oldest pub here on the River Thames. In amongst the trees on the left, there's a red dome. Underneath the boat here is the Rotherhithe Road Tunnel. Running under the boat here, Rotherhithe Road Tunnel. Then you've got a funny looking building. It looks a bit like Legoland. The reason it looks like that is so that every apartment has a view of the river and its own balcony. And what that does, it makes a maximum profit on every single apartment inside. To have the view and the balcony will increase the value of each individual apartment. Now to talk a little bit about the river itself, so you look at the water and it looks very dirty. And that's because it is very dirty. A very fast tide churns the riverbed and it makes the water look discoloured. Take a bucket of water out the river, give it half an hour to settle down, the sand and the mud will settle to the bottom of the bucket and the water will become very clear and clean looking. The river water is not polluted. There is over 120 different types of fish living back in the river. So it's not as bad as it looks. I will agree it doesn't look very inviting. The water itself here is brackish, so that is a mixture of salt and fresh water. The further down in front of you the further down in front of the boat you go, the saltier the water is, and the further behind you to the salt the fresher the water is. So roughly about 30 miles downstream is the open North Sea. The tidal section of the river is 67 miles long. Beyond the tidal section, you've got another 156
А на первом этаже видишь гаражи, ворота.
There you can see Limehouse Marina. That is the entrance into the canal network of England. There is over 2,000 miles of canal in this country. It's all accessible via that lock gate. So you can go through there with a boat, you can travel up to Birmingham, Manchester, over to Wales, down to Bristol via canal. I do know for a fact that between that lock gate and Birmingham, there is 111 pubs on the way. So it could take probably ages to get there, especially if you're with me. I do like to visit all the pubs. Now talking of pubs, there's another one here. Look at the balcony, you'll see a few people standing out on the balcony close to the water's edge. The top of the pub, it says The Grapes in golden letters. Can you see it? That pub was made famous by Charles Dickens. He lived there and he wrote out Mutual Friends. A famous Dickens book. Keep your attention on the left. If you're looking behind the buildings, there's a couple of blocks of flats. Look between the gap in the blocks and you'll see the church coming into view there. Can you see it? That is the church of St. Clement. Oranges and lemons rang the bells of St. Clements. You would have heard that before. So when the ships arrived in the docks ahead of you, the fruit would come over on the ships, the church bells would ring and the local people would know to come down and collect their fresh fruit as the ships came in. So before they built all these buildings on the left, this was the East India, West India and Millwall docks. Shipping came here from all over the world to discharge cargo. A lot of the cargo was fruit from the Canary Islands, and that is where we get the name Canary Wharf from. The central tower with the pyramid top, number 1 Canada Square. HSBC, Citigroup, JP Morgan, all the big banks and financial buildings are here. Now ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to go and look round Canary Wharf, weekend is probably best. Obviously hundreds or thousands even of office workers here in the weekdays, very busy. So over weekend it's pretty relaxed over here and nice to walk round. Now if you look over to the left you'll see a bus and he's very shortly going to go over a little bridge. You'll see him there, can you see the bus? Now look at the river wall where the bus is now and you can see where that was an entrance. So that's where the ships used to go through into the docks here. Now if you look down the river ladies and gentlemen, the water goes down and it goes round to the left and it continues to go round in the shape of a horseshoe. So on the other side of the buildings here is the River Thames. Now to save a ship trying to sail all the way round the Big Bend, they cut a canal across the land. So before the docks were there, that entrance was a canal and the ships would cut through instead of sailing around. When they cut the canal, it turned the area into an island. It's a man-made island, it's called the Isle of Dogs. When Henry VIII lived at Greenwich, he kept all the hunting dogs on the marshy field to the left. Hence the name of the area, Isle of Dogs. This part of the river wall here is called Mill Wall. Now before they could build on the wet land, they built a river wall round the island. They placed windmills down the river wall to pump the marshy land dry. You had a mill by the wall, they called it Mill Wall. They built a dock on the island and they called it the Millwall Dock. The men who worked in that dock, they formed a football club. They called it Millwall. And that is where they originate from, the Isle of Dogs. They play football over in South London today, but they're not playing at home today. They're away from their home ground today. And by the way, I don't support Mill, so don't worry. I'm just telling you what it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we get to this part of the river, if you look on the left and right, you can see that the buildings here are just houses and apartments. All I can tell you about these is they're very nice. They're very, very expensive, and I cannot afford to buy one, unfortunately. So I'll switch off for a couple of minutes until we get to the bend, then I'll tell you about Deptford, I'll tell you a bit more about the Isle of Dogs, and then we'll be at Greenwich. Has everyone enjoyed it so far? Has it been okay, folks?
Yes.
Thanks a lot, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll talk again in a minute. Thanks a lot.
Не, вот так вот на солнышке.
Солнышко пригревает тепло. Только когда ветер, вот это.
Да.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, just coming up on the right, we have the area of Deptford. Now, first of all, see the brown brick buildings over here? Look carefully, and there's a gate outside with a set of steps that lead into the river. These are the Queen Stairs at Deptford. This is where Francis Drake was knighted on his return from sailing the world. So we saw the ship up at London Bridge. He returned with all the golden treasure. He was rowed ashore and he was knighted by the Queen on the steps here to the right. Now, when she saw how much golden treasure that he had on the ship, she renamed the ship to the Golden Hind. It was originally called the Pelican. Them brown brick buildings are the Deptford Vintner Yards. That is where the Royal Navy made rum. Now, rum was a very important supply for the Navy. Without a daily allowance of rum, the sailors would be sick. Now, the reason for this, their water supply went to sea in a wooden barrel. The wood contaminated the water. So they would tip rum in the barrels of water. That would kill the bacteria, sterilising the water, keeping it fit to drink. So it was very important you had enough rum to keep your water supply clean. Now, a good story that goes with that, when Lord Nelson was killed in battle, the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, they wanted to bring his body home to London to give him a proper funeral. But obviously they couldn't leave him laying dead on the ship. So what the crew did, they got a big barrel of brandy, they put Lord Nelson in the barrel with the brandy to pickle his body to bring him home. Now, it is said that on the way home, the crew run out of rum, and they drank the brandy from the barrel with his body in it, which isn't very nice. And this is where you get the saying to have a stiff drink. If you've heard that before, a stiff drink, that's where it comes from. Look back at Canary Wharf now, and you can see we're coming right the way round the island. So the river water continues to bend round and to the left. Now, folks, just coming into view on the left, you'll see these sort of yellow buildings with the green bits on the front. Look in between the gap and you'll see an old brick chimney an old brick building. This is the Millwall shipyard. This is where they built the Great Eastern. Now the Great Eastern was the biggest ship ever built on the River Thames. It was over 700 feet long. Now it was very expensive to run. It was originally built as a passenger boat. They converted it into a cable laying ship, and it set the first telephone cable from Ireland all the way over to America. And that ship was built there in the Millwall shipyard. Now looking just ahead of the boat, you can see the naval ship, a landing craft ship from France. Oh, it's Netherlands, sorry, apologies. The French one is up at Tower Bridge, apologies. So a Dutch naval ship. She's moored here in Greenwich on a sort of courtesy visit for Remembrance Weekend. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the ship is always, it's always got enough water to float here. Even at low tide, there's around 10 metres of water in the ship's here. So this ship probably is about 6.5 metres under the water, I expect. So these are pretty deep ships, normally around that depth. So we'll look at our numbers on the back. Yeah, so about 6'6", yeah, so about 6.5 metres deep, and so even on low tide, plenty of water here for the ship to float. Now, if you look on the right, you'll see the three-masted T-clipper, the Cutty Sark. She was built in Dumbarton in Scotland in 1869. She delivered tea from China. She brought wool to London from Australia, and today she's moored in Greenwich as a museum. Look behind the Cutty Sark, look on the hill, and up there you'll see a castle-like building right up on the hilltop. Can you see that? That is the Royal Observatory. It stands on the line of 0 degrees longitude, where east and west meets. See that red ball on the T-bar at 5 minutes to 1 every day? That red ball goes up the T-bar very slowly until it gets to the top where it stops. As the clock in the observatory strikes 1, the ball drops down, indicating 1 o'clock GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Now, Now, ladies and gentlemen, in front of the Cutty Sark there's a red dome. That is the air and lift ventilation for the Greenwich Foot Tunnel running underneath the river at this point. Now, folks, in front of the boat on the right, you can see the large white buildings with the grey domes. They're the Royal Naval College. They were designed by Sir Christopher Wren and Inigo Jones. For many years, the Royal Navy were trained and nursed in the Naval College. And say today this is the University of Greenwich and the Trinity House of Music. Now inland from the Naval College, the Queen's House, and then you can walk up through to the park to see the observatory. There's a very nice market in Greenwich. There's some lovely pubs and restaurants. Lots and lots of things to see and do here this afternoon. It's a lovely day to spend the afternoon in Greenwich. There is a traditional London pie and mash shop in Greenwich, Goddard's Pie and Mash Shop. It's been there for over 100 years, and that's something I often do if I'm in Greenwich for the afternoon. Have a pie and mash and a few plates. Pub on the left-hand side is the Trafalgar Tavern down by the riverfront there. Can you see all the flags? If you walk round the back of that pub, walk down the riverside, past the power station, there's another nice pub down there called the Cutty Sark. Just a little bit of a walk down there, but a nice pub, that one. But so I'd recommend getting off and walking into the Naval College grounds, walk through the gate there, take a walk through and see the Queen's House. You can see the Queen's House in the background now. See the little white building just behind the Naval College where the columns are. So there we go, folks. Get off the boat, have a walk round. So your tickets are valued to come back on any of our boats through the day. They run every 40 minutes. So 1:30, 2:10, 10 to 3, 3:30, and the last boat today is at 10 minutes past 4, okay? So you've got plenty of time to get off and explore Greenwich. So it's definitely worth walking around Greenwich, it's very nice, okay? I'll be down by the gate to help you off safely. Exit will be from the front of the boat on the right-hand side. As we said earlier, folks, if you have understood, you have enjoyed the commentary and you would like to show some appreciation, we leave the old captain's tip bucket by the gate and you're more than welcome to drop something in our little bucket as you go ashore. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you all for coming. Take care. Thanks a lot.
С закрытой дверью, забронированной.
Поэтому это абсолютно красиво.
Красиво, да, Дося. Я заснял это.
Если ты была в Оксфорде, то все
Каждый по-своему красив, мамочка. Здесь тоже, здесь такая территория зеленая. Там внутри, блин, как красиво. Видишь, тут многие выходят. А? Что это? Я далеко хорошо вижу, да. Рекс,
All right, well, that was an amazing boat ride from Westminster all the way to Greenwich.
Gerade auf der AT.
Thank you, everyone. I have to step ashore, please.
That was a big bump.
It's a bit of a dodgy berth, Right, mind the step, folks. Thank you very much, sir.
All
Cheers,
right.
gentlemen. Mind the step,
If you
please.
want to give a virtual tip, you can here.
She's all right.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, love. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're wonderful.
Cheers, mate.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. Mind the step. One at a time, please. Mind the step, please. Take your time.
Mind your step.
For the old commentary, folks. Mind the step, please. Goodbye.
See you later.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Take care.